Yeah, thanks. So just like to start by going back to that youth control thing. It's because it's quite an important argument. Even if you are religious, it's a very strong argument that morality does not come from your God. And to say that it just flows from his nature doesn't address the point, because if it flows from his nature, then what you're saying is there is something about his nature, there are some attributes to the nature of God that include the criteria for what is right and what is wrong. And so you still have to identify then what are those criteria. Otherwise you're just saying he's good because he's good. You know, that doesn't cut it. Whether you're religious or not, there's a very strong argument that morality is independent of a God, or that at best a God can help you to identify what is right and what is wrong. And generally make a pretty poor job of that, as things seem to be, because people's opinions, not only do people's opinions change, religious people's opinions change about what is right and wrong over the generations, but to say that you're interpreting the Word of God as revealed in the Christian Bible to mean something that's gradually changing is fine in some circumstances, but if it's just literally, you know, saying the opposite of what the book says, then that's not interpreting anything. It's also not good enough to say that the Old Testament was one thing where God had certain sets of rules where it was right to do certain things, like stoning people to death for random reasons or for trivial reasons, and the not only slavery but the various massacres of genocide that the Old Testament God not just approved of but ordered people to who had come from a battle and killed all the men in a city to go back and kill all the women and children apart from virgins which they could keep for themselves. And you're on pretty shaky ground if you try to defend that, no matter what your beliefs on morality are. And if, on the other hand, you don't defend it and you just do, as been suggested here, you move away from it and say, well, no, Jesus changed all that. And even putting aside the fact that Jesus, you know, depending on which version of Jesus you're looking at, in one version he said, no, I'm not here to change those laws, I'm here to ensure that they're upheld. Even if you do say that, then you're accepting the fact that morality changes. And if morality changes, even morality that comes from God changes, then you have no ground at all for believing what you believe today to be God's will is actually either God's will today, or certainly may or may not be God's will tomorrow. Because he might send down another Jesus to say, oh no, by the way, all that early stuff was right. It's the middle bit that you're mistaken about. So one way or another, the more rational way of looking at things is to say, which is more likely? That there is either no God and morality evolved by individual people trying to figure out how best society can live together in harmony, or that there is a God and that God is independent of right and wrong, without we possibly be able to identify, but we still figure out right and wrong ourselves, independently of the existence of this God, and we may get it right and we may get it wrong. Or there is a God who just randomly changes the rules. And I would suggest that on balance, based on your experience of life, based on your experience of society, based on looking at the world around you, morality does evolve, and one can be moral without God. Thanks very much.